Hey everybody. Today I want to talk to you about my love of handspun. I love handspun yarn. I think it's one of the most greatest yarns ever that we can have and that we can use. It's just got that something that just makes you so happy to use it, and I love using it. Now, I use a bunch of other commercial yarns and hand-painted yarns and other yarns from friends and mill yarns, but there's just something about handspun. I just really, really love it. But I'm here to tell you it's not indescribably mystical. It's totally usable. It doesn't do anything particularly magical, although sometimes it can feel that way. It's really not magic, and you don't need to use spells to use it. And when it's made well, it's not fragile. It's an absolutely usable product. I mean, even my singles, and at the end of this video I'm going to talk about this sweater. These singles, I went to go break it at the end of after binding off, and I was having a hard time. I had to go find a pair of scissors. It can be tough. You know, handspun yarn is in many ways no different than commercial yarn. You can knit, crochet, weave. We can embroider with it. You know, you just got to make the right yarn. I'm serious. It's not anything like entirely out of the ordinary or unusable. And I know for a lot of you, saying this isn't a news flash, and for some people it's just mind-blowing, because I see questions all the time on the internet of people going, can I make a pair of socks with handspun? Can I do a sweater? Can I do a hat? Can I do a scarf? Yes. I mean, if you have the right handspun and you have the yarn that you want to use, absolutely. Absolutely, you can use handspun for all of these things. It's just not that mystical or otherworldly. It is an absolutely usable product. And while it's got unique attributes and great things about it, it's an absolutely usable product. I know, you're going to get sick of hearing me say that by the end of this. It is usable. Use it. If you want to use it, use it. You know, there's people that think that if they've made it, it's the only thing it's good for is to sit there and look at it. And I admit, I've made a few yarns, and I don't have them here with me. I should have brought them to show you. There's a few yarns that I've made that I love just the way they look in the skein, and I don't want to knit with them. I don't want to weave with them, crochet, any other thing with them. I just love them in the skein. But almost every other yarn I make, I want to use in some way. So if you're a hand spinner, or you buy handspun, and you buy it and you just want to look at it, or you make it and you just want to look at it, that's fine. But if you've bought it or made it and you want to use it, use it. Use that yarn. I've got 15 sheep out in that field that are making more wool right now. And they'll tell you, use up what you got. I just sheared them, and the fleeces range, the littlest guys, I'll probably get about 5 pounds of fleece off of them. And the biggest ones will be about 11 pounds of fleece. So that's a lot of sweaters. It's a ton of hats, a bunch of socks, a gaggle of mittens. There's a lot. There's a lot of sheep out there in this world, and they're going to make more, and we can use it. Now, for some people, when they're posting online, I know it's a mental block. It's the idea that this stuff is mystical or fragile or just can't be used. And You know, so that's what this was about. I really wanted to urge you and say, hey, you can use it. Use it. It's good. It's good. If it's strong, it's strong. I don't have any other way to put that. But if your problem isn't a mental block and you're just not sure how to integrate handspun into a knitting, a weaving, a crocheting pattern, or how to embroider with it, how to decide, you know, is this a good embroidery yarn? Can I use this? Can I use that? So the next, I think this is going to be my next series. I'm trying to do more than one video a week because I have a ton of things that I want to say. I might not succeed, but I might. You're going to get at least one video a week. And I definitely want to talk more about using handspun and getting it so that you can use the handspun and figuring out what to use with it. So I didn't want to make a giant feature film for YouTube, especially since there's going to be parts that pertain to knitters and crocheters, embroiderers and weavers, and it might not pertain to all of you. But I wanted to, we're going to break it up into usable sections, and I am going to talk about and show you how you can use all of these things in the different crafts that you do. If you've got something that I didn't mention, so we're going to go over knitting, crocheting, weaving, and embroidery. If there's something else, let me know. And we'll go over all of it, and some of it will be handspun specific. Some of it will be, you know, how you definitely need to like adjust your spinning. But for the most part, you just need to figure out what project and how to use it, and all handspun can be used for different things. So we're just going to go into doing all of that in all of those things in future videos. So I want you to be able to do all those things better. I want you to be able to use the handspun, whether you're making it or buying it. So we're going to go over some of that. So that's my little, this whole thing is, you know, urging you to use what you've got. And if you need help using what you got, we're going to go over that. And so I just said I was going to go over this yarn a little bit. This is my, I mean, I have a bunch of projects I'm working on. Let's be honest. I'm a great starter, but not a great finisher. I'm okay with that. That may not be your life, and that's fine. This is my life, and I'm okay with, you know, being a great starter, not a great finisher. But this one is probably going to get finished. This is the Felix sweater. And you can see it's got one sleeve done, one sleeve not done. I need to start on that. I finished the bind off on this last night, but I haven't obviously woven in any of the ends. And this is made out of handspun. And there was about a 2-week span that I started making 4. This was the 4th sweater that I cast on for. 4 sweaters. All crops, because that's my thing right now because of the high-waisted skirts I've been making. I have 4 sweaters, and this one, and I think it's probably because it's hand spun, is the one that's just been driving me to continue it. And you can see it's not even, and that's exactly how I wanted it. I don't know. I mean, I know how to spin consistent, and I could have done a 2-ply, but I really wanted a singles yarn, and I wanted it to have movement and character, because this sweater has so much. You can see this is the main detail of it, is down the raglan sleeves, but the rest of it is stockinette, and that's the nice thing about handspun. Without even putting in a whole ton of effort, you know, you get the beautiful look of it. So when this sweater came out, I'd already had a bunch of sweaters I was working on. And then I started seeing people working on it, and I kind of had to have it. And I didn't have a yarn in my stash that I wanted to work on. I'm already working on a couple of other sweaters in yarns that I special dyed, and I didn't want to do that. And then I was like, I could just spin, and I could spin it real quick, and that's what I did. I spun enough to do a small sample. my swatch. And once I had my little swatch, I ripped it right back out and started working on the sweater itself and continued to spin. So there was 3 different spinning sessions to get all the yarn for this. And it's just this stuff. I don't think any other place has it. I special bought this from Louette several years ago. It's an alpaca blend, and I don't do a lot with alpaca, but it's not 100% alpaca, and I don't know the details. I could have pulled them off of the website, but I didn't. So, but this is how it comes. There's 5 or 6 different colors, and this is the color that I wanted. I really wanted an orangey one, an orangey red brown, and I spun it into singles, and you can see the singles aren't all completely even or perfect. And if you go to in my Instagram, you can see that I've talked about it a bunch of different times. You see all the unevenness and the differences. I'm trying to pull it out against my black shirt because you can see it there pretty good. Oh yeah, see, it's pretty. I love it. So this is probably what's been keeping me working on this sweater so much, is just that it's hand spun. It's got that slight variation to it. I love seeing variations. I'm really just that easy when I'm knitting. I like a little variation in my yarn, whether it's in the color or in the grist of it. I just love the variation, and I think that's why hand spun works so well for me. But you can see I'm using singles. I'm making a sweater. The original sweater was made in a commercial yarn that is singles, and that's just it. So then one of the next videos, it may not be the absolute next one. I really, you know, like, I'm not a good finisher. I like to plan, and I have a ton of notes of what's coming up next. But I'm not sure that the knitting one is going to come up next. But I'll do one, whether it's Thursday's videos or one next week. I'm going to talk about working on knitting with hand spun. Because all of these things about knitting, crocheting, weaving, I want to do more new samples for you. I have a ton of samples because I've been teaching for so long. But I want to, you know, sometimes I want new samples and sometimes I want to show you guys different things. So a lot of these videos take a little bit of prep. So while I do want to get another video out on Thursday, it may not be the one about knitting with hand spun because I do have to get my prep done for it, but I'm going to try. So it'll either be Thursday or next week, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this sweater, how I got to make it, and other sweaters, socks, hats, knitting, you know, all of that. I mean, really, to go over all of the knitting with hand spun stuff, it may take a whole bunch of different videos, but I'm going to touch on everything so that you can get started, and then we'll do more in-depth stuff. But we're going to talk a little bit more again about this, and I really want you to be using hand spun. If you like it, if you love it, if you're making it, if you're buying it, I want you to use it because it's some pretty awesome stuff. So that's it for this today. Maybe not this week, but it is enough for today. And I'll talk to you later, and we'll go over more about knitting. Bye, guys.